Everyone, welcome back to Empower Me Mondays. I'm Crystal, and in today's episode, we're going to explore a component of personal growth, giving ourselves grace, which is about allowing ourselves the freedom to express who we are without that harsh judgment or holding ourselves to a standard that is unrealistic and that ultimately puts a limitation on who we are. This is really diving into why embracing this mindset is critical for experiencing that true freedom and achieving lasting success where we are truly unstoppable. Grace is more than just forgiving others. It's really about accepting our human experience with all of its flaws and all of its glory at the same time. But the human experience is really about feeling. And so many of us don't even allow ourselves to feel or to express specific feelings. I have noticed in my own life that I had a very hard time expressing anger or fear or sadness. And when I explored that, I got that I was brought up in an environment where I was supposed to be a good girl. And my family and my parents wanted me to be happy. If I had to cry or get angry, just don't do that in front of them. Basically, go to your room and figure it out on your own. I felt like it was a bad thing to express sadness or anger. So that's one of the things that I've really noticed, how much other people don't allow people to get upset, to say things a certain way, to feel a specific way. And then they start to put up these boundaries, like boundaries of other people feeling, which is just more of not accepting that expression of emotions. And I started to look at this with my daughter because, look, I get it. And I don't blame my parents and I don't blame society either for this, because when my own 3-year-old, she's about to turn 3. So those of you who are parents or, know terrible 2s or terror 3s, whatever they're calling it these days. But what I've experienced with my daughter is that when she gets upset or throws a tantrum or cries or whines about something, it actually really does trigger my nervous system. And when something triggers my nervous system, I just kind of instantly react. And when I was reacting, I started to realize that I was resisting her emotions. And I didn't want her to express certain emotions. Of course, I just want my baby to be happy. And that's just unrealistic. That is not this world. And I started to really unpack, like, why the hell did we do this? And it really brought me to how I was raised. And even my partner, I could even hear it through him. If my child started crying, he would be like, Mila, stop crying. And eventually I was like, wait a minute, would we have her stop laughing? No. So then why would we have her stop crying? To make ourselves feel better, right? We all are just addicted to feeling good and not allowing for the ultimate experience of humanity, which is also includes anger, sadness, and all of it, like the range of it. And I actually really started to explore how this has stopped me in my life. And not allowing myself to express anger has actually resulted in a lot of panic and anxiety. I contribute the panic and anxiety disorder that I used to be diagnosed with to be because I was unable to express pain at all. And so it just suppressed in my body and it was expressing in its own way, which turned into anxiety and panic out of freaking nowhere. I started to give up resisting my daughter's emotions. And I started to open up even myself and how I could accept myself and my own emotions, which really started when I was pregnant because I was dealing with hormones that were making me extremely emotional, which also was just very uncomfortable for me because I don't like expressing all these emotions. And so when I started to accept these feelings and just allow them to express, then they no longer have power over me. I was no longer judging myself for feeling the way that I actually felt in that moment, which started to release a lot of anxiety from me. I didn't experience as much anxiety. And I'm also noticing that as I raise my daughter. If she's throwing a fit and I'm busy doing what I'm doing, if I don't acknowledge her and her feelings, it will get worse and worse and worse and louder and louder and louder. But when I stop whatever I'm doing and I just get on the floor with her and I hold her and just say, and put a word, communication to it, like, I get that you're sad, or I get that you're frustrated. Can you tell me why you're frustrated? Then it just passes very simply. She'll kind of like step back and look at me and she'll be fine. So I was like, this is really interesting. And I started to really think about the impacts that if I didn't allow her to express her emotions, what that could do to her in the future, or how she wouldn't be able to hold space for other people to express their emotions. And then we see it in the reality in which we live. I was actually just scrolling on social media this morning and someone was crying on camera about a breakup. And let me tell you, the amount of comments, I've even screenshotted it, I mean, people just being triggered by her expressing sadness. Oh, girl, you shouldn't be crying on camera. I mean, 13,000 likes on just that one comment. So you can see the agreement we've created as a society. And, more of like, oh God, we really need to do a study on why people, do this, film themselves crying or whatever it is, or we get upset with people for expressing anger. Now, again, when you express anger and you actually do physical harm, okay. But if you're angry because somebody did something that triggered anger, that's actually fine to be angry about, actually healthy to be angry about, you should be able to express that so that it can get out and you'll be done with it. You can get that challenge or that situation complete without having to stuff it down and deal with it later on in the future. I wanted to talk about this today to have us really look at how we can give ourselves and others grace. It means acknowledging that we are all a works in progress and that mistakes are not just inevitable, but they're essential, and they're essential of the human experience and our growth journey. And when we give ourselves grace, we open up the door to our authentic self-expression. Like, you can really be authentic and you can accept oneself. And you really can't accept other people as they are or as they're not until you can start to accept you as you are and as you're not. By allowing ourselves grace, we really do embrace that freedom to be our true authentic selves. And this freedom is truly liberating, because even people on that social media post, what I noticed is how much everybody is stuck. When you get triggered by what someone posts, who's actually not free? That person's free. They can express themselves however the hell they want. They don't give a shit what you have to say. They're not taking the post down or feeling less than confident about themselves. No, but you look like you're the one not being free. It bothers you so bad that someone is over there crying. I mean, this really is about liberating not just like our future generations, but yourself from the shackles of perfectionism and fear, really, fear of failure at the end of the day. I mean, imagine living without that constant pressure to perform, to be an impossible standard, or to perform and not being human, just being happy all the time, which is unrealistic. That is not the world in which we live. I mean, this kind of freedom about holding space for oneself and others' feelings really does foster creativity. It's a generous act that creates something possible for the future for us all. Creativity, joy, and ultimately genuine success. Let's talk about how to practically give ourselves grace in our daily lives. First you want to start by recognizing your own self-talk. What are you saying to yourself when you make a mistake or when you get upset? You want to shift the critic to a supporter. replace the, I can't believe that I did that. I can't believe that I said that. I can't believe that I was angry and I spoke that way with, I'm learning from this. What do I need? Or what is it that's actually wrong? When I've done this, it's always taken me back to a place in my past that I was unable to express a specific emotion. And somebody didn't hear me. It was something that was incomplete from the past. And so learning that gives me more freedom because now I don't react to the same things in the same way. It ultimately gives me freedom. So you always want to shift that context of like, God, I'm this or that, labeling yourself with I'm learning and what do I need? What is this showing me? What's incomplete? The next thing is to set a realistic goals and also celebrate those small journeys. Set a goal of accepting oneself. Practice small, like accepting yourself when you get angry or sad, or when you have a child. I started with very small things like, all right, from now on, when she throws a fit, I'm going to stop whatever I'm doing. Then I'm going to sit on the floor. It was just like a basic goal. And it works to this day very well. I want to be that safe space for her to express herself emotionally so that she always is open to telling me what's happening. The last thing that I want is for my daughter to be like how I was and withholding communication and suffering by herself and dealing with all of life's challenges by herself without having any wisdom or guidance through it. Even if it's just me saying, I don't know how you're going to get through this, my love, but I'll be here with you. That is such a huge, huge victory for me, for her to be able to come to me and trust me with her emotions. And I take that extremely seriously. That is my commitment to being a mom. So you want to make sure you are clear about what those real, like what you're committed to, and then start by setting like really small goals, because every step forward is progress, no matter how small. I have seen countless individuals transform their life by simply giving themselves some space to feel, to fail, to learn without condemning oneself, without making it mean anything about them. These people are those people who have gone on to achieve incredible things, not despite their failures at all. These people that I've coached have become unstoppable because they don't make things mean anything about them or others. They can hold space for themselves to feel what they need to feel, their own human experience. And then when they are able to do that, they can start to hold space for other people to feel and have their own human experience. It is just a part of that journey of success. And it makes them stronger in business, parenting, in their relationships. Like they really do become unmesswithable, unstoppable. So today I really challenge you to start giving yourself grace, the grace that you deserve. Really, notice when you're being too hard on yourself and pause. Remind yourself that you're doing your best and it is okay to feel however you feel. It's not about becoming the emotion where you become it, you stay stuck in it, and then you're just an angry person. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to feel the feeling without becoming it. I feel angry versus I am angry. They're two totally distinct things. And the more you can allow yourself to feel, simply to just feel, the more powerful you can be. But when you become it, I am angry, I am sad, I am depressed, I am anxious. It's going to be really hard to get out of that cycle. So just practice. My challenge is for you to just practice feeling, just to feel, not to do anything about it, not to stay stuck in it. Just, okay, I'm feeling this, and I allow myself to feel that way, and I allow myself to express the tears if they come through, or I allow myself to get angry if that comes through as well. And allow it to flow. Embrace your imperfections. And remember, this journey is just as important as the destination. It is a critical part in mastering oneself. mastering your own emotions so that the emotions don't control you, you control them. You can feel them and enjoy this human experience and all of its diversity. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you found this message helpful, please like, comment, subscribe for more empowering content every Monday. I'd love for you to share your journey towards giving yourself grace in the comments below, and I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay empowered, embrace your authenticity, and remember, you are enough as you are. You've got this.